Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our show. I'm your producer, Jack Tunney, and we're coming to you live on tape from the Sandwich Studio in Oceanside, California. It is February 18th, 2021, and we have a great show for you today. Our sandwich will center on Myanmar and the coup that occurred there earlier this month. If you enjoy that content, like this video and subscribe to our channel, and now, without further ado, the hosts of the PB&J podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the PB&J podcast. I'm Peter Whitehead.
Hey, what's up? My name is Brandon Blackmon. What am I supposed to?
Yeah, that's you.
What am I supposed to like introduce it? Am I supposed
Yeah,
to?
you're just gonna be like, hey, look, we missed some comments last time. You know.
Oh yeah.
We need to check that. That was your line.
So we have some amazing comments from our amazing fans that I'm just so amazed with, and I just want to give a shout out to them. And I'm gonna read the first question that I thought Tunney was supposed to read.
No, Tunney's supposed to read.
No.
That's all you're supposed to do.
No,
Okay, cool.
We've got a question
We
from Matthew, who asks, what platforms do we trade on?
Yeah, so Matt, I believe this to be Matt Crack, but I'm not confident on that. So I apologize if you're not Matt Crack. Matt, I'm too broke to trade. That's the goddamn truth. I have no money. Mostly what I do is just sit in judgment of other people who are trading. Because I kind of know what's going on, and you know, I can like make assessments or whatever, but I don't trade. I don't day trade. That's not my business. It's not my business.
Yeah, I don't day trade. I work a real job. I'm sorry.
And to wrap it up, we have a comment from our number one fan, Hannah, who says that Peter's ponytail is a vibe.
Damn right it is, Hannah.
And
Just for you.
Oh, he's rapping.
she would like to see us play D&D.
Yeah, she said that she already watches Critical Role and that she'd love to, you know, what's one more campaign or whatever. I think it would be really fun for us to play D&D like as a group, and you don't even have to film it, just like record what we say. We got some voice actors in the crew. You know, I think it would be pretty good.
It'd be all right.
I'm fucking this ponytail up.
He's really tying a ponytail right
There
now.
we
So
go.
I think I'm going to keep it moving.
Yeah, but that's the, you know, I agree. My ponytail is a vibe, and the vibe is here now.
Yeah.
And we're gonna just press into the first bite, I think.
The first bite this week is centered around the extreme storms that took place this week. The headlines kind of focus on Texas, but you may not know that the entire middle of the country is suffering from these winter storms. Something like how much snow is it? Like 1,000 like inches of, not inches of snow, but like throughout the states.
It's a ton of snow.
Yeah, it's like
I don't have any exact numbers here because it's actually changing by like the hour.
yeah.
Because there's another storm rolling through tonight.
Oh, so different storms.
Different storm.
Oh god.
Yeah, second storm, taking a similar path. But the first storm, which was called Winter Storm Uri, which I think is a great name. It left the U.S. late Tuesday after covering a staggering 73.2 of the 48 contiguous states in snow with an average depth of 6 inches.
Yikes.
According to the National Operation of Hydraulic Remote Sensing Center, marking the most coverage since data collection began back in 2003. And there's a second storm, as I mentioned, coming through. And that hit last night and is still, you know, hitting today. And that's threatening to dump an additional 10 inches on the northeast.
Wow.
After, you know, the first one, you know, broke the record. This storm has killed at least 23 as of today's reporting. And left millions without power across the United States. Of course, the focus of this story is in Texas because it's definitely facing the worst of this of the situation. But this is all over the Southeast, the Northeast.
Yeah, 73% of 48 states is a massive amount of the country.
Yeah.
Especially like when you realize how big America is.
Yeah.
Like that's not a small number. So I think I saw on CNN that like 120 million people are, under heavy snow alerts. So they're under emergency protocol and that sort of thing. And it's crazy because, it's just snow, right? But you think of all the different things that happen when, the roads are frozen, when people aren't allowed to go to school, when they're not allowed to go to work. This is going to become a full like shutdown of society, especially when the power goes out, which is what happened.
Yeah. No, it's reading here that as of last night, 40% of Texas's generators, 4 out of every 10, remain offline.
Yeah, and that really makes me angry when I hear, Republicans say that it's because of wind power, it's because of solar power, it's because of the Green New Deal, which is literally what people are saying. And it's literally not because of that. So I just want to use...
They're boiling ice for water there. Or snow for water there.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
It's not healthy, but like just the
fact that they have to do that.
Dude.
They have to do that,
well,
right?
It says they have power, but the running water is not.
Well, a lot of the pipes have frozen and burst as a result of the ice and the snow.
Exactly, and the pipes freezing is what's causing the power outages because they can't, transfer like gas, and they can't transfer the gas through the pipes. So actually, the wind and solar power was some of the last lines of defense for Texas and these other states. So, getting more into like the political nature of Texas and how they handle their energy, it's actually different than any other region in the country. So most other regions are made up of different states. I mean, most other electrical grids are made up of multiple states, and in times of need, they can rely on each other and quote unquote borrow power from these other states. But the Texas electrical grid actually stands independent from its neighbors. So it has no ability to rely on other states and other regions for their power. And within this system is a regulatory agency called ERCOT, which was all over the news this week because basically what it is, it's kind of a one-of-a-kind system in this country. Apparently, it's the first independent system operator in our country, and it's one of 9 in the North American, region. So it's not a very common thing. And what ERCOT does, ERCOT, it's basically a statewide regulatory agency that's focused on making the energy sector more economically efficient. What do you think that means? Economically efficient.
Cut costs.
Usually means cutting costs, sadly. And what does cutting costs mean? Usually means
cutting corners.
They're firing workers, maybe even firing experienced workers. It means that they're going to be using outdated tools, outdated facilities. And it's going to mean that they aren't going above and beyond to...
All those poor pigs.
They aren't going above and beyond to provide emergency resources for the pipes. Like, there's the last time a storm of this size, what
that parking so it's frozen on the parking sign and now it's like slowly sliding off, but it's the perfect rectangle of the no parking sign.
Yeah.
That's how cold it was.
Oh yeah, it's completely frozen solid and now dripping.
Yeah.
So this isn't the first time Texas or, the Midwest has seen a storm of this size. It's actually happens about once every 10 years. So the last time this happened, ERCOT actually suffered another similar failure like this. About 10 years ago, a bitter cold snap caused over 3.2 million ERCOT customers to lose power during Super Bowl week. Afterwards, a 350-page federal report on the outages found that the power generators' winterization procedures were either inadequate or not adequately followed. So the federal government did an investigation on ERCOT, which is usually not under any federal supervision. It's an independent service, organization, like I said earlier. So basically, they run free without federal, regulation. And this federal report goes on to say that 10 years ago, they failed to winterize their systems. So 10 years later, they're suffering a greater crisis.
A decade of failures.
Yeah, like when he says that the director of system operations, Dan Wolfton, he said that they didn't have to, there was no requirements, there was no teeth behind the report. There was no one was forcing them to upgrade their systems. So when the choice game between, cutting costs or providing the safest option for the most public good, these people chose cutting costs.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's important to not look at this like it's some kind of accident, like it's not some kind of surprise. No, these guys, they were warned, they had the option, and they chose not to provide a more socially responsible system, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you have to choose between, sometimes you have to choose between money and the most moral good, it's not something you can have both of sometimes. Like the energy system needs to be publicly funded and subsidized so they can upgrade their system, so they can move into more sustainable,
Yeah.
But they're not even close to that. They're not even at the zero of moving towards green energy. They're at a negative position.
Well, yeah, this is, the commentary that I have, like, mostly from this situation is that, this storm has bared the inadequacies of our infrastructure.
Yeah.
We're really low rated on our infrastructure globally.
And before you continue on this point, it's important that we kind of also talk about like the arguments that are happening between like, oh, you can't say anything bad about Texas. Oh, I know they make fun of California, and I think it's important when you realize California still has bad infrastructure in areas. Texas has bad infrastructure. Sometimes these problems aren't Democrat, Republican. Some of these problems aren't always state by state. Sometimes it's a federal response to a problem that's been inadequate forever. So
yeah, absolutely.
So of course we can kind of, make jokes or whatever, but we have to see that there is a unifying factor here of, the exploitation, the corruption, and, people like representatives leaving the state as their state like burns or freezes. There are wider issues that are more than just state by state debates and arguments.
Definitely. It's a much wider issue. It's not even just our energy grid, it's our bridges and our roads. Mm-hmm. And
I always thought it would be like a bridge falling that would, kind of wake up this kind of argument, but I don't think anybody expected this to happen.
No. Which is crazy because, they have been the climate scientists have been warning that there would be more major level storms at a more frequent rate. And like we're just unprepared. We're caught out again. I read a tweet last night when I was doing research into this, and it said that the only thing that the U.S. government is prepared to handle is total war.
I mean,
like
there's so many examples.
I tend to agree with that. I mean, like we didn't prepare for the pandemic. We don't prepare for climate disasters. California's burned 5 years in a row.
When it came time to enforce the DPA, the Defense Production Act, we didn't know how to because it's not meant to produce masks and ventilators. It's meant to produce tanks and guns and So there's so many examples of us being ready for total war and military expansion, but
so like all of these failures, right, in the other sect, but we can destroy the world like 15 times over. So that's lit, I guess. Congratulations, America.
I guess we're killing the game then.
And not only that, but we make money doing it.
Yeah.
Still killing the game.
So
gotta love it.
Like I said earlier, when the question is, make money or provide the most social good, one, there is no middle ground between those. And two, if you choose, money over social good, you are also choosing money over life. Like these deaths that are happening are on the hands of the people who chose the policy of not providing a more safe winter electrical grid. The fact that this director is saying that he didn't upgrade a system because he wasn't required to, because the federal government had no teeth behind it, he's saying the truth. Like it's facts. Like that's his perspective, and he did it because he was allowed to. So we should just make it that they aren't allowed to do things like this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, ERCOT is unregulated. It's there's no federal supervision. So what'd you expect?
Yeah.
It's like it's all there. Like all the information that we need to change the system is there. So let's use it.
More points for the Federalists.
Yeah, we have a federal system so we can rely on each other. And when Texas has a grid that is unreliant on the other areas, this happens.
Well, yeah, and it's not just that too. I mean, like there's all those things coming out about how Texas was putting forth the amendment to secede from the Union, and then like a week after that, the storm hits, and they are like, oh, we need federal help, and it's like, oh, you reckon you need federal help?
Yeah,
you think?
Yeah.
You didn't have me till you said reckon.
You reckon?
Yeah, so you definitely win that argument.
Yeah.
And these are the same
That's how I win most of my arguments. Oh, you reckon?
Oh, you reckon? And these are the same people that were like making fun of California for our response to the wildfires and our need for federal help, right? And the same movement of people moving to Texas and, acting like California itself is the problem and not these greater problems. So it's not just the people. Like I'm mostly talking about people like Ted Cruz and, Greg Abbott.
Oh, Cancun Cruz?
Cruz.
I thought we were calling him Fled Cruz.
Oh, Fled Cruz?
He fled. Can Cruz.
I like
Can Cruz.
I like can Cruz Fled Cruz.
I can cruise down to Mexico during a state emergency.
Oh, maybe he was going down there for a cruise.
Yeah, I don't want to talk that much about that, Bing. But it's some good jokes.
Yeah, like an 11-hour cruise.
I mean, the thing for me with that is that he went, he was going there, and then he makes that statement, right? Oh, I'm just flying my daughter's
cat
down there. You got a full suitcase, dog. There are pictures. You're on record. Don't lie. You just say you planned this a while ago and you didn't know that the storm was going to be as bad as it was. That's a reasonable response. Why are you lying, dog?
Also, he's blaming it on his daughter. Oh, my daughter.
My daughters wanted to go to Mexico.
He said he wanted to be a good father.
And, just my freaking daughter, right? Freaking liberal daughter.
But last thing I want to say on this is that it's had a strange side effect. So as the storms, completely immobilize grand portions of the country, many COVID vaccinations have been delayed or canceled due to the inability of many to leave their homes, and also the inability of many to be in spaces for a long time because there's no power. So you can't just go to the clinic because you got.
I'm gonna say it right now. It feels as if God's holy grace is as if it is God's wrath that the people that chose not to take it as seriously, at least in the Midwest. I can say that because my entire family in the Midwest got sick because they didn't wear masks. I think it's God's righteous fury.
No, I think
he's coming down. He's like, nah.
You
want a vaccine?
Long since given
Absolutely not.
I've long since given up trying to blame God for natural disasters, but
because it's either that or we're shooting ourselves in the own foot.
Yeah, because it's not God. We did this.
Yeah,
we did this. We bled the country. We bled the world dry, and now the world's killing us. We're the infection, and the world has a fever now, trying to kill us.
I got a fever, and the only prescription is human annihilation.
If you start something like this, don't talk to me about God. This is man-made.
I'm playing all the devils over here.
And if we want to get into something a little more general, like the Republicans do that with everything. Yeah. They'll say, God doesn't want abortions. God doesn't want gay marriage. It's like, we want freedom. We want you to stop telling us what to do. And also, we want to provide for the country.
I got a lot to say about that, but that's a can of worms. We're getting a can of worms. Let's end the first bite there.
Yes. Well, you can guarantee that we have all been, praying for Texas. And
yeah, I mean, we make light of some of this stuff, but it's a serious situation down there. I mean, people are freezing, people are dying.
Oh yeah, you
We're
gotta
praying for you.
you gotta watch this podcast and know that we are making dark comedy. Sometimes.
Yeah.
If
Most
there's
of the
comedy,
time.
it's gonna be dark, and we know. So we are self-aware guys.
But yeah, the sandwich. This is a good one. I here's another thing that's gonna sound terrible, but I really like coups. I think coups are super interesting.
We like the coup.
No, I mean I don't like it. Like I don't condone it, but I'm saying that I think like insofar as reporting on something, coups are probably the most interesting thing that you're gonna report on because there's so much stuff going on, so much back and forth, so much in between.
There's different layers. There's the political layer. There's the military layer. There's like the social cultural layer.
The economic layer, dude.
I forgot about that one. Well, let me hear about what's going on. What is the sandwich?
Yeah, so there was a coup d'etat.
A coup d'etat.
And I'm just gonna say to preface, Peter may make some comparisons to a very similar coup d'etat, maybe.
There's going to be some references.
States. I would like to remind everybody at home that whatever happened in Myanmar probably has nothing to do with the United States.
Yeah, no, it has nothing to do with the United States, but it's just similar.
Things that happen in the world simultaneously may be related. Yeah,
culturally at least, right? Especially now we live in a global culture. A lot of ideas being exchanged across borders. Yeah, I think there is some cultural influence here, and I'm not going to that.
The main method of political science is country between country, analysis. So
yeah,
that's one of the only ways for us to do it. So here we are.
So coup d'état, which is a fun French word that literally means blow of state.
You gonna tell a girl that next time you meet her?
Yeah. Hey, you want to get
okay?
Cut that part. Cut it.
Blow of state.
Oh no. Okay, yeah. So coup d'état is a French word that literally means blow of state, which blow of the current state.
We're done.
Okay. The definition is a sudden, violent, and illegal seizure of power from a government. Pretty good definition. I would say that the illegal part of that, it can be confusing because obviously when somebody takes power, they're going to say that it was legal.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I like the word blow. Like a literal, like a wind gust, like a fast change.
Yeah.
Like before you realize it, before
Yeah.
Quickly.
As fast as possible, right? This is the quickest form of transference of power right here. Is a coup d'état. Just as an example from history, because people talk about these things, but they don't always really know when they happened. And this is a one that happened in 1969 in Libya. There was a gentleman, a young man, actually, he was only 28 at the time. Muammar al-Gaddafi. Gaddafi. On September 1st, 1969, he seized power from the king while he was out of the country. Libya was ruled by under military dictatorship for 42 years by Gaddafi until he was killed in 2011 during the Arab Spring uprisings. So these things can have decade-long ramifications, century-long ramifications.
But at the same time, they could happen within a week or within a month or within
overnight.
Yeah.
I mean, with this Gaddafi situation, he literally came in the morning and then was there. That was it.
He
just rolled up with the military, took the presidential palace or the royal palace, and it was over.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's the military layer.
So now we're in Myanmar. It's 2021.
Okay.
Actually, let's cut it back a year. We're in Myanmar. It's 2020. There is an election.
Okay.
The election date is November 8th. I want to talk about the NLD and Aung San Suu Kyi. I hope I say that right. Aung San Suu Kyi, who Aung San Suu Kyi was the daughter of a military hero in Myanmar, which was called Burma at the time. And you might hear our distinguished but old as fuck president call it Burma.
Shout out to Peter's mom.
Nobody but her and us is going to get that, but that's fine.
Yeah, she contributed.
Yeah. She gave a speech on democracy, and this is in the 90s. She gives a speech on democracy and freedom from military dictatorship that led to her detainment by the military for 15 years. From 1995 to 2010, she was detained under house arrest by the military. She was released in 2010. Her relationship, or her what's the word? I wrote relationship.
Reputation.
Reputation. I don't know why I wrote relationship down, but her reputation was tarnished due to her cooperation with the military and her defense of Myanmar at the International Court of Justice, where they were accused of committing racially charged genocide on the Rohingya Muslims there. So that was a big thing. I mean, that's still happening.
That's kind of all I know about Myanmar.
Yeah, Rohingya. That was kind of the big thing last year. People were, a lot of news stories about that. A lot of Instagram shares try to raise the word or whatever. And she defended it in the International Court of Justice. Which, not a very popular move defending racial cleansings, but she did it. Many think that she did this as a pragmatic choice, with the intention of moving Myanmar more towards democracy, away from the military dictatorship. Because in Myanmar, there's a democracy, but the military still has a lot of power, controls some of the state-run businesses.
Yeah.
So it's a very different form than what we have here. But she was trying to placate, they think, the military in efforts to move towards this particular election and then fully transition into a democratic country instead of a quasi-democratic country. So the National League of Democracy is her party. That's the NLD. And they, in the November 8th election, secured 83% of the parliament seats that were up for grabs in that election.
And I'm pretty sure that the 17% were military favorable party.
Yes.
So that shows the absolute dominance of the non-military people.
Aung San Suu Kyi is really popular amongst the common people. Her father was a legendary revolutionary hero in Burma, war general, and she's been super popular. Like I said, there was some unpopular moves she made in the last year and a half, but very popular to the people.
Yeah.
The people there are also really longing for democracy. You're going to see that more as I get into the protests that happened after the coup.
As far as I recall, I think the genocide is kind of popular over there too.
Genocide is super popular over there, my guy.
Yeah.
It's really bad.
Well, we'll keep moving. Just keep going. Different culture, I guess.
So, like I said, 83% of the parliament seats in the election controlled by the NLD, which means that they're going to run the government. Aung San Suu Kyi, likely was going to become the leader of the Senate, or leader of the parliament. And then, of course, we get into the familiar part of the story. Claims of election fraud. The military, who, like I said, holds a lot of power in Myanmar, claimed that the election had millions of fraudulent votes. Does that sound familiar to you?
I mean, just the idea
the election was rigged.
Wrong.
Millions of fraudulent ballots.
They don't even try to do it believable. Oh, it's 15,200 votes. Nope, millions.
Millions.
He lost. He won. We won by a lot.
So yeah, they take that all the way to the Supreme Court. Sound familiar?
We won by a lot.
The military and their representatives took their argument all the way there. The Supreme Court did not agree with their arguments and, said that essentially the election was legitimate. There was no reason to rehold the election or do anything of that such. Once that happened, things started to get serious in Myanmar. That's when the coup talk started flying back and forth. A lot of people didn't believe that anything like that was going to happen. But the military surrounded the parliament with soldiers and threatened to take action. Sound familiar?
Wow. So not only did they, rally the military, rally the militaristic calls of you have to fight back, you have to take back your election. They tried to defend it with a legal precedent.
Yes.
They got farther than other people may have in America. But then they actually did it. They actually gathered and, had their insider National Guard people who could go in and were, more supportive of the military coup than they were of democracy. It seems like simply all that happened was that they had more people that were willing to do the coup than were willing to stop it.
Yeah. And that's obviously a failure of leadership in the military. I'm going to talk about that guy in a second, but I mean, this is, to me, this part of it shockingly startlingly similar to what happened in our very own country. Before you get to the part where there is actually arrests and detainments and an overthrow of the government, it's shockingly similar. It's the candidate of the people wins. The other candidate is like, this isn't real.
We won by a lot.
Frankly, we did win this election, right?
Frankly.
And then they take it to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court says no. And then they go to the lawmakers building.
Yep.
And say, "Hey, we're here to save our country."
No, yeah.
Shockingly similar. This is how close we were.
It shows that they made an attempt, and an attempt that has worked in other places.
Yes. This is how close we were, and this is why it's so serious. And looking at a situation like this makes me feel better about the alarmist nature of myself and the things that I was thinking and the feelings that I was having when we were in the stage of, oh, it's fraudulent. Oh, the election was rigged. Oh, we need to take back our democracy. We're going to lose our country to this socialist guy. Like, I was freaking out.
You've been on edge for a while.
And I look at this, and this is what I thought was going to happen here. And the reason that this is why I thought this is what I thought was going to happen here is because this is what always happens with coups.
It's possible.
So, like, it was very dangerous. And that's why when I hear people saying, oh, saying there was election fraud isn't that bad. Yes, it is that bad. It is that bad. This is an autocrat technique. This is the technique of a military dictator that he pulled right from the book and used. That's why it's that scary. Okay, so let's talk about the coup itself. In an early morning raid on February 1st, the military detained the leaders of the NLD. The coup is announced on military TV, citing the 2008 Constitution of Myanmar that allows the military to take power and declare a state of emergency. So this is them, putting their legal precedents, right? As I said, with the definition that, like, illegal is kind of sketchy, because anytime somebody takes power, they're going to say it was legal. The state of emergency is going to last 1 year, and then the military says there will be a new election.
Wow.
They then cut the people of Myanmar off from information. After the first day, there was a lot of web gathering that led to protests in the streets. So then they said, okay, so no more Facebook, no more Twitter, no more GroupMe,
no more global,
no more internet, period. No more broadcast television, no more international phone calls, no international and domestic flights. All of them are canceled. You can't get in and out of Myanmar right now.
No journalists in.
No journalists in. It's only the journalists that are already there, and they have to hide.
Yeah, or you have to be, pro coup.
Yeah.
Which they're probably not. I think it's insane that there aren't that many videos from this event.
This is why.
Yeah,
because it's all shut off. They have no access.
It's nuts, and it's like a visible effect. It's weird to say visible because I'm saying that it's something that's not visible, but there's always going to be this kind of online uproar when there's protests, no matter what country it's in. But like the radio silence is been nuts. And it's not scary. Even because CNN's not covering. There's no videos. There's no the information isn't getting out.
Yeah, that's I'll talk about that a little bit more later. But yeah, it's like really scary that we have ideas of what's going on in there because, like I said, there are journalists there. There's other things going on, but we barely know what's happening.
There was one video. The one video I saw was there was a woman who was doing like a workout class or like a fitness class or something, and then in the back you see tanks rolling up. And it's totally she was doing for TV or something. So it was professional. She had the street in the background and fucking just tank goes past. And it wasn't, it wasn't recording the tank, but the video.
Yeah.
That's one of the only videos that I've seen from Myanmar. And that was a while ago.
Yeah. As of February 6th, by the way, total radio silence from Myanmar except for military run broadcasts. So there was a couple days in there where they were able to, have some communications and stuff. But
Complete control.
power in Myanmar now rests with the army chief, who is a man named Senior General Min Aung Hlaing.
Don't sit on it.
Yeah.
Don't.
Who was supposed to retire this summer, but will now be staying on for the full year of the state of emergency. Min Aung Hlaing is the people say that the reason that he is wanting to stay in power is because he has a patronage network, and that part of the politics in Myanmar is this patronage network. They get to set up businesses. The military is in control of some of the state-run businesses, and so he's making a lot of money for himself and for his family by being in this position. So it wouldn't be smart for him to retire now, especially when the time he is retiring is when a new wave of like democratic reform is coming, because that's going to be poor for him in his retirement.
Yeah.
So that's what they're saying. This is the same guy, by the way, who was in charge of the ethnic cleansings.
Yep.
That Myanmar pursued against Rohingya, the Shan, and the Kogang minority populations there.
So when I said earlier that aren't the people in Myanmar in favor of the genocide, sure, whatever. The people may be in support of it, but this is the army chief.
This is the guy who's saying, go do these things.
He is signing the documents and answering those phone calls.
And now he's in charge of the country.
I just want to remind people that it's not about, there's the powerful people are the ones with the blood on their hands. The people are being, like, I'm sure that there's a lot of propaganda and that sort of thing that convince people.
For sure. It's like, in a country such as that, of course, and you have military-run TV, you got military-run websites.
There was total radio silence from Myanmar except for military-run broadcasts.
Yep.
Yeah. So
of course there's propaganda up there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to talk about the protests just a little bit. Myanmar is in a total state of protest. Their teachers have walked out of their classrooms. There's no one learning there. Their workers aren't working. A lot of their factory workers have walked out in civil disobedience. They refuse to work until the election is certified and then followed through with. There are people in the streets to the tune of hundreds of thousands in Yangon, which is the former capital of when it was Burma. It's kind of like the big city there. It's like New York City there. The other cities in the country also face protests, including the capital. The country's being so tight-lipped about things, though, like the information networks and everything, that most of the information that we have regarding the protests in Myanmar come from undercover hidden reporters that are there pretending to be protesters or, whatever else to fit in and cover this instance.
Probably literally risking their lives.
Yeah. And satellite photos. So we have our satellites going over and they're taking pictures of the streets. And that's how we know there are hundreds of thousands of people there, because we look at the street and it's coded in people. And that's how they're figuring some of that stuff out. But we know practically nothing. Yeah. We don't know what happened to the leaders of the NLD, aside from the fact that they're detained.
Yeah.
We haven't seen them in weeks. None of them.
Nobody's seen them.
We don't know how they're organizing these protests. We don't know what kind of force is being used against these protests, except, again, for the reporters that were there, said that there was live fire in some instances, live rounds.
Actually, I did. That's one of the only other things I saw that, like, within the last week of a report of them opening fire on a crowd.
Yeah, opening fire on a crowd using fire hoses, but for the most part, we don't really know what the response is.
No, live fire. Rounds.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You said fire hose.
No, they're live fire and fire hoses. I'm sorry because they're doing both. They're shooting them, they're spraying them with the water, they're beating them. They're doing all
everything.
Think of the authoritarian rule book for taking over a country. That's what's happening.
They're doing it.
They're doing it.
Okay, that's a good way to look at this. Keep going.
So the West responds, as we usually do. The Biden administration has threatened sanctions on the military officials who have taken control of Myanmar, stating that the United States opposes any attempt to alter the outcome of recent elections or impede Myanmar's democratic transition, and will take action against those responsible if these steps are not reversed.
Your conclusion of this?
Yes. Boris Johnson said in a tweet that the vote of the people must be respected and civilian leaders released.
It absolutely must be respected. The purity of our democracy cannot be affected by these global atrocities, and we will do everything to stand up against evil.
Okay, let's go to the next one.
Wait, just wait.
The UN Secretary General Antonio. I didn't put his full name. It just says Antonio.
Antonio.
I think it's Guerres. Where is
the UN Secretary General? Tony.
Yeah, the UN Secretary General Tony Soprano. And Antonio Guterres. He is the 9th Secretary General of the United Nations. He's been there since January 2017. He says that the coup developments represent a serious blow to democratic reforms in Myanmar. So practically no help from the West.
Yeah.
Like Biden's like, we're going to sanction you. Boris is like, here's a strongly worded letter to your manager. And the UN is just like, hey, this is serious. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, guys.
This is very serious.
Thanks a lot, guys.
And I think that would be like one of the main complaints about the UN or just like our global relationships is that we really don't have a lot of say over a country other than, hey, please stop. Hey,
that's that epic economic power we were talking about, right?
Yeah, but
less utility in some instances.
Yeah, and I think military force here would be completely irrational. It would be a waste of time and money and life.
But yeah, I mean, there's other things that you could do. You know?
I think a good way to think about it, at least in this situation, if we threaten them economic devastation, but hundreds of thousands of them are already in the street, not buying anything, not working.
Yeah.
It's like it's already imploding.
Yeah, I think the best thing that we could do is offer support to the freedom fighters that are there. That's it. And that doesn't mean guns and ammo. That means, hey, here's some medical attention. You know, here's
training. Here's not training, but like, you know.
Yeah, well, here's medical training.
Yeah.
Here's this is how you treat a gunshot wound. This is how you treat tear gas. This is how you treat this and that and whatever. And you can do all that sort of stuff without,
Because I mean, as it's been shown with like Iran and other nations, like sanctions mostly just hurt the people.
Yeah, they don't hurt the rich folks.
If the government doesn't care about the people, then a sanction that hurts, because sanctions are built to hurt the people, the government has to respond to that. If the government doesn't care,
if it's a bad faith government, you're not doing anything.
Yeah, so it's a sad reality, and that's kind of a lot of this when you look at the global world. But
I have one more response, and that's from China.
Oh, this could go many different ways.
China has been kind of playing the fence here.
Okay.
They share. Did you like that one, Jack Tunney?
I don't get it.
I don't get it.
They're playing the fence. That means that they're not in either yard.
I know. I hate it.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, I thought it was like a word play with like border.
No. I just like I love how the West is just like, oh, don't do it, and then China's like,
well, you can do it, but make sure you do it right.
No one at home can see my face, but it's exactly what Peter was doing.
Yeah, they're like, so they share a 1,300-mile border with Myanmar, and they're the most heavily invested into it out of the world powers. Wang Wenbin, who is the foreign ministry spokesman, said, China and Myanmar are friendly neighbors. We hope that all parties will properly handle their differences under the Constitution and legal framework to maintain political and social stability. Like these
amazing words.
These are just garbage responses.
Amazing word choice.
These are just like
amazing word choice though.
Like we're talking about the overthrow of democracy here.
Brandon, do you know how many censors
China
that
and
whole
Myanmar
speech
are
went through?
friendly neighbors.
Yeah, for sure. Properly handle their differences under the Constitution.
Oh, by the way, the Constitution that says that it's legal for the military to just seize power. So yeah, great response from China. What do you think happens now, boys? Think we maintain radio silence?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Did China say more than Biden? Like just
No.
Okay, no. Biden said like a whole thing, right?
Well, they released a White House statement. I read a small part of the White House
as
statement.
long as it wasn't just Joe going, "Oh, please no."
Well, yeah, it wasn't actually
That's
Joe.
absolutely
It was the White House, like the press office.
Freaking Joe Biden is like, hey, we want less malarkey. Less malarkey
Less
from
malarkey.
Myanmar.
No malarkey.
No, he'd say, what was it? Oh my God, I'm going to forget what it's called.
Hey, Jack.
What was Myanmar used to be called?
Burma.
Yeah, Biden would be like, oh, don't do it, Burma.
Don't do it, Burma.
Don't do Burma.
Yeah, he's like, no malarkey in Burma.
So what do we think happens now?
Yeah.
Personally, I think the coup is solidified in stone.
You think it's set?
Yeah.
They have power, and that's that.
It's it's very significant that 83% of the election went to the other party. So, there's always going to be that, quote unquote revolutionary movement, but the military has their guns. So
Sometimes that's all it takes. The bigger stick.
yeah, so to me it seems like they had they had the road to take and they took it, and now we have to see what we can do within that system. Well, the people will have to see what they can do within that system, which will be protest and sometimes violent protests. So
Speaking of the bigger stick, hey America, aren't you the defender of democracy? This is what makes
If
me
we
sad.
try to defend
We
every
I
democracy
know,
in the
yeah,
world,
that's the
we
joke.
never stop. Where do we draw the line?
Well, why do we keep drawing new lines?
we draw the lines at white democracies.
We keep oh.
Okay, I'm talking about it. Okay.
But it just makes me sad that in the world community it's all talk and it's no help.
I said the line wrong.
You did?
Yeah. If we try to fight in every revolution in the world, we never stop. Where do we draw the line?
It wasn't a revolution though. It was just like we got the election. We got that far.
Yeah, but it's turning towards revolution, I think.
Well,
That's what I
it has to
think.
be.
That's what I think is going to happen. Brandon says it's solidified.
It's
I think that there's going to be bloodshed.
Well,
I
yeah.
think it's going to be both, and it makes me sad that an entire country went black overnight and
It's
went
nuts.
blackout.
I mean,
overnight.
even like the Indian protests and Russia, like we'll still get stuff,
Mhm.
no matter how much they black it out. Like we've always gotten stuff. Like literally, I've seen 2 videos. There was a lot of articles for like a week. I feel like there hasn't even been a lot of new articles or anything.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, we should talk about Russia again too pretty soon. The Navalny stuff is pretty interesting, I think.
yeah, it will. Yeah, maybe when there's like the actual results, but they locked the guy up and stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
personally, I am against a military intervention to solve those kinds of things. I think it's
Absolutely.
irrational.
Again, I said I like coups at the beginning. I purely like reading about coups,
Disclaimer.
discussing coups, researching coups. I do not enjoy coup. I would not want to be a part of a coup.
And as a way of getting you out of it, Pete, I'd like to say all our thoughts and prayers, they go out to Myanmar, although they can't hear it.
Yeah.
We're thinking about them.
Yes.
And that's going to bring a solemn end to
Yeah.
the sandwich.
Yeah, let's start the milk,
Let's
dude.
get some
We got
freaking peace on
we got-
Earth, please.
We got a good milk.
Actually, Brandon, it's peace on Mars for this milk. Am I right?
Yes,
Am
peace
I right?
on Mars. We
All
go
right,
in.
we got buddy boys on Mars.
So for our first milk story, we're going to talk about the Perseverance, which is the latest of the NASA rovers to arrive on Mars. So while, of course, the agency has landed other missions on Mars, the $2.7 billion robotic explorer named Perseverance carries a sophisticated set of scientific tools that will bring advanced capabilities to the search for life beyond our planet.
I'm sorry, this is going to be an obscure question, but
Yeah.
do you know if the $2.7 billion is just for the robot or like the
It's
entire
for the robot.
program?
The robot is $2.7 billion.
It took them that much money to build it.
Nice.
I'm assuming that includes every robot before that was the final product.
Yeah, right. When you
Right.
build
Okay, for sure.
models
'Cause
and
it's the model, and then
So that's the operation cost for the robot, though.
Yeah.
That's not the mission.
yeah. Think
Yes.
about that,
Um,
Brandon. Takes an entire Hollywood A-list movie to get you to Mars. Isn't that funny?
Yeah, that's pretty great.
Actually, kind of cheap.
Yes. The first Curiosity. I'll just add this because I know this. The first Curiosity ship, like the first trip, that costs just as much as like a AA movie, like to pay everybody to put it all together to put it out.
Wow.
That's how much it costs, and look how many movies we make.
Well, if we're gonna have that conversation, the problem is that they don't make money off of shooting rocks to space. But
No, I know.
anyway,
That's
That's
the,
why-
that's the
eventually.
sad part, Brandon.
ooh, space rocks, space Minecraft.
Space Minecraft.
Well, it would be like, hey, was
Wasn't
there
there a
something
game?
that lived on this planet
Yes.
before? And then we'd be like, oh my god, there was. We're gonna go find something that is alive, and then we like rapidly expand. But nah, never.
Yeah, I don't think that there's any. I mean, I think they might find evidence of life there, possibly. I'm pretty convinced that we are alone. That
Nope.
the level of intelligent life that we have here is singular.
Nope.
What about Titan though?
What about it?
Nope.
We haven't seen.
I'm talking about intelligent life.
Yeah, we
Of
haven't
course,
seen-
there's
we've
life.
Never seen under the ice.
Of course, there's life.
What if
There's
they- what
life.
if they just
There
got
must
it?
be.
What if there's just sentient life under the ice? They're just chilling.
You ever seen the movie Ad Astra?
No.
All right, watch
But
it and
I
then come
think-
back to me.
I think when you say that, if they might not look like us, but I think they can have a form of intelligence.
I think that. I mean, yeah. I just mean that I think if there was an intelligent species of alien that could travel around, that they would be here already.
Well,
I disagree.
And
we've
if,
already gone over this on this podcast, Peter. There has been, and we have video evidence from the government.
we have video evidence of
Of
something moving faster than we know anything to move. That does not mean that there's
What else could that be, Pete? A flying rock?
a blip on the radar.
Spontaneous
No, it's-
alien debate. Here we go.
You know,
Peter.
interdimensional something else is
Peter,
going.
watch the video. It's not just a blip on the radar.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
is the tracking
Yeah,
of an
okay.
F-250 fighter
So
jet.
either
The best
there
tracking in
is-
the world, and
the-
it
either there
flies
is
off the radar.
there is an intelligent alien presence on Earth, and the federal government, which has a history of being terrible at covering things up, has been covering it up since the 1960s, or we're actually alone.
Some could say that the cover up has been pretty bad.
Some say
Some
some would say
could
the
say-
cover up's so bad that makes us forget, makes us think it's not.
But we will never know. So
Perseverance
But
was the
yeah.
third.
Oh my god, that's the truest alien in this universe right now.
Yeah.
oh wait,
Perseverance.
we're the aliens.
Yeah, that makes.
Hold on, if they're sending
Perseverance is an
Curiosity
alien.
rovers, and if we see the rover, man, Peter, you wouldn't get it. You
I
would think.
wouldn't.
You would think.
I don't get anything that just came out of your mouth.
You would think. You would be like, "Oh man, that's just a little robot. That's not intelligent. That's not no alien." And I'd be like, "No, it is an alien, because somebody sent it to us, and it landed on our planet. It's a rover."
Yeah, but the
Yeah, what if they're just sending Priuses
Perseverance, we build Perseverance. The aliens.
We are the aliens.
We're the aliens to Mars, but like I said, there's no life on Mars.
Boom. I won the argument. He just said that we're the aliens.
We're the aliens to
We
Mars.
technically are.
Continue.
Okay. Perseverance was the third robotic visitor from Earth to arrive at the Red Planet this month. Last week, two other spacecraft, Hope from the United Arab Emirates and Tianwen-1 from China, entered orbit around Mars. So we're actually the third there this month, which is pretty crazy when you consider like how often we actually go to Mars. It's not very
all
often.
good. We were the first anyway.
Well, we were the first back in the day, but
Yeah, we didn't win the moon race, but we won the Mars race.
no, we won the moon race and we won the Mars race.
We never know.
Why would we all end up there at the same month?
Probably just the launch patterns of it. It takes a long time to get
Brandon,
there. It takes like 3 years to get there.
The window between when the
Oh.
Earth is in the right spot
Yeah.
in orbit, they all
Yes.
just go at the same time because it's
That
like,
makes
dude,
sense.
we're gonna wait.
That's
We're
a way
gonna
better
wait so
answer than what I
long.
was about to say.
Yeah. I was going to say,
It's the orbit.
I was gonna say it's the aliens.
Because well, no, it's because all the scientists do the same math, and then they
Yeah.
all come to the same conclusion, and then we all do it at the same time.
Yeah. No, I think it's cool that we all just popped up.
Well, if that means we might be able to collaborate on research and shit.
Eventually in the future.
So
Yeah.
that could be good.
So there were periodic announcements of the spacecraft's progress through the atmosphere, the deceleration and heating as it sliced through the Martian air, the thin Martian air. It's weird hearing Martian used in a scientific way.
Yeah.
It's real.
Yeah. I've seen what's that one movie where the guy
The
goes to
Martian?
Mars? No,
The Martian.
no, not with Matt Damon.
Was it the Martian?
No, John something of Mars or John.
Oh,
You know what I'm
the
talking about.
Disney movie.
Yeah, I've seen that movie. Of course, there are aliens on Mars.
Total Recall.
I was gonna say Total Recall.
Fucking love that movie.
It's a great Mars movie.
Yeah, so they had a huge parachute while this thing was coming in at supersonic speed into the atmosphere.
It's at
They
least
just
2,000 meters a second.
it's insane how fast this thing was going. And then they shoot out this big parachute and slows it down. They fire this rocket and it was really cool. They showed I watched it live and they showed a diagram of what was, they obviously don't have live video of the landing, but they showed a diagram of what was supposed to happen during the landing.
Did you also mention the 11-minute delay?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna get to that. I'm
they
getting to that.
Okay, cool.
They've got a whole ass camera crew on the ground.
Yeah,
in
no.
Mars. No.
It's that's like them with the moon landing. Oh, it's a set. The camera was already there, and it's there's no evidence of the camera on the moon, and they wouldn't have brought it back with them. And
Not this time. They're like, no, we're just gonna give you a diagram.
yeah,
Smart.
so yeah, it descends. In the final step, the rover was lowered at the end of a cable beneath a rocket-powered jetpack until it touched the surface softly, so there was no damage to the instruments and stuff when it hit the ground. Very cool technology. Of course, when NASA was watching this, so I will play the video in a second, but when NASA was watching this, there's an 11-minute delay between us and Mars for the communications. It takes 11 minutes for the communications from the rover to reach our base on Earth, okay? Just like it takes 8 minutes for sunlight to, hit the Earth. So basically, when they were getting reports that the rover was entering the atmosphere, the rover had already landed. Because there's an 11-minute delay in the way that, and it's only 7 minutes it takes from the rover to go from space to the ground. So the rover had been on the ground for 4 minutes.
So there's this kind of gap waiting to see if it landed correctly.
Yes. They call it the 7 minutes of hell.
Oh God, the anticipation must be insane.
Yeah, because that's where everything could go wrong. Because they have no control of the descent. It's controlling itself. It's all robotic, all engineered, all pre-programmed.
You can't test that.
Yeah, because it's Mars.
No, they tested it.
You could test it, but
hundreds and hundreds of times.
You could test it, but it's different than what it will be when it hits.
The gravity is
the
like
heat.
a third of what the Earth
You can
has.
do tests, but
The
There's
real
a
run
really
is
cool
different.
island that they do it on. Did you know that?
Yeah,
The Mars Island.
yeah.
I love that thing.
But yeah, it they did the rover had already landed and they weren't sure if it had been destroyed or not. So we just waited for a while and then finally we got news of touchdown. Go ahead and play the video. It's just a minute long. I thought it was pretty cool.
I wanted to say a thing because you didn't put it down, but there's when you're watching it, they don't play any music, but they had programmed a thing with Perseverance where every time it would meet the standard for what it was doing at the current time and it knew it had 100% chance of succeeding, it
Sent tones.
it would play a heartbeat tone.
Yeah.
And then you just hear a boop, boop. And it was just and everyone would go, and then they get on to the next step, and then they just wait for a minute and go.
Just
I remember
one
used
heartbeat.
to be able to do it. Yeah, just go boom, boom, and they'd be like, okay, great, and then it landed, and then everyone freaking blew up.
Well, they didn't blow up.
Well,
Nothing blew up.
No,
Look at
they
these
blew.
hardworking masked NASA
yeah,
people.
they're all
double masked
They're all
up.
double masked because they're smart.
That's the craft that it was traveling in. It sheds that heat shield as it enters the atmosphere.
And this is a simulation, right?
Yeah, so they're simulating what is happening. It's not like showing it in speed, but yeah, you can see how it's dropping down there with the parachute I was talking about.
Which is 1/3 less, which is like a third of its use because there is no atmosphere to catch in the parachute.
Uh-huh. And then
Yeah.
Yo!
Yay.
Dude, they blow up.
Yay,
dude.
dude.
I see people like all put their fists together and shoot up like a rocket, dude. It's so funny.
That's great. That's great. Go ahead, pause it. It's all good now.
Well, yeah, of course it's all good. We're there.
So much work and so much just
3 years, dog, of just waiting for it as it makes its travel
Yeah,
across.
and, like at one point, it probably could have just hit some
Just
asteroid.
get an asteroid
just
through
a
it,
free
just-
floating asteroid.
Any number of things could have gone wrong. That's the chaos of space, right?
That's why they love it.
Yeah. You have to like believe that our math is correct. Because
Yeah.
you can't change it once it gets out there.
'Cause
That's the
you've
thing
done
about
it
no tests.
100 times over.
Yeah.
has
There
to
was
be
there was a
correct.
tweet I'd like to read sent from the rover. It wasn't actually sent from the rover. They
Hit
just
me in the feels.
obviously just NASA, but I like to think that it was sent from Mars.
My feels.
That reads, "I'm safe on Mars. Perseverance will get you anywhere."
Yes.
My heart.
Yes, it will. It will.
It's really cool, dude. I think it's really cool. I remember when this thing took off. It was so
I
long
don't.
ago.
I don't. I
Like-
don't.
Did it take off with a SpaceX rocket?
Yeah.
Right. That's what.
Yeah. No.
Was it?
No, it was NASA.
It was
No,
just a
no,
NASA
no, no.
rocket.
Yeah.
Okay, they were just doing the SpaceX stuff for
I think NASA like
people on
obviously-
the space station.
Yeah,
They
the
want to-
International Space Station travel is almost exclusively done by SpaceX now. Also, the Russian astronauts, they have a different name though. Forget what it's called. But
SpaceX.
Space R.
so what is it going to do there? I thought this stuff was pretty interesting.
Well-
Over the past 20 years, NASA has gradually asked more complex questions about Mars. The first mantra was follow the water, as that is
Nice.
where there once may have been life, with giant canyons, winding river channels, signs of dried up lakes. It has been clear that in the past, water has flowed on Mars, even though the planet is cold and dry today. Perseverance destination is Jezero Crater. The rover will explore the delta of a river that once flowed into a lake that filled the crater. The piles of sediments are a promising place where the fossil chemical signatures of ancient Martian microbes might still be preserved today. That's pretty cool.
Awesome.
We could be weeks from the discovery of life on Mars.
True. I mean, that's a great point because of all the new technology, new cameras, new research, all of that stuff is in the new robot.
Yeah.
And also it's beautiful just to watch the progression of, when I was young, it was there's no water in space. It's water on Earth only. And then they're like, "Oh, there might have been water on Mars 100,000 years ago." And then it became there definitely was, and there might still be. And then they think if they might find water, they might not. But
Well, there's ice caps. Now
Yeah.
they know there's ice, which means there's water.
so exactly, I didn't
So
even
there
know
is
that.
water on Mars.
The
Yeah.
progression of that is just a testament to our science, and this is just so
steady forward.
fucking awesome. Like,
I mean, when you think about it, when did we go to the moon? 69?
Mhm.
1969, 1962, 1961, JFK says, this is the decade that we will reach the moon. And then 8 years later, they do.
yeah,
And
With
now
calculators, if
now
anyone
60
needs
years, 50 years after that, we're trying to discover some life on Mars for the third time.
and
'Cause
how long?
two Curiosities and
Was it 2 Curiosities?
Was it Curiosity 1, Curiosity 2?
And I wonder if
I'm a
our
terrible space
spaceships
fan.
are faster now. Like, I wonder if the trip was shorter than it was in the past. Like, I'm sure, right?
Well, I mean, once they figure out
Uh,
ion cannons, we're great. No,
I'm
Brandon,
not sure if it was
shoots-
shorter or longer.
shoots Really,
I don't know anything about that.
Brandon,
but
ion cannons or ion thrusters.
stupid on the camera.
You got to think about this, Brandon. Ion thrusters, they produce a very low amount of force. Low. That gets done at a it doesn't change, so it just goes at one thrust, and it does it continuously while you're going in space, and it's no friction, and then you're going at the speed of light at one point.
Wow.
If you get that far.
No,
I don't think humans would be able to survive the speed of light, but
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Unless we had really cool domes. We were
really cool domes.
Okay, this is seriously off topic, but that there's a scene in The Expanse that is so fucking awesome when the guy who there's a character who revolutionized engine propulsion and made engines in space run 20 times faster or whatever, but there's a flashback episode or whatever where he's testing out the new engine and his face is melting in the freaking spaceship and he's on he eventually gets stuck. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, he eventually gets stuck because of all the G-force. And I agree. I don't think humans could survive that.
Yeah, I mean, we know for a fact that most humans will pass out and die at 9 G-force. So consider, I don't even know how much G's it would be to be traveling at the speed of light. That's crazy.
Well,
not 9 G's, 10 G's.
This comes into more physics, right? Do you feel G-force in space where there is no gravity?
You'd feel acceleration force, not
Yeah.
Feel the
G-force.
acceleration
Yeah.
force.
Which is probably the same.
So
kind of.
there would be
It's a similar style of force, right? Because gravity is just acceleration down.
It creates a force of gravity on the ship.
Yeah.
Yes. That's
Yeah.
why the guy would be stuck to his seat. And
I
his
did not
face
have
melting.
a very good physics teacher, and half my class failed. So this is why I asked these
I
questions.
Yeah, I
also
mean-
didn't have a good physics teacher.
Peter,
Well,
I don't
she
even.
got fired from 15 different schools.
Damn.
I don't know why she flexed on us the first day, but whatever.
What's your question, Brian?
Yeah, babe.
I don't even want to hear you talk about G-force because you're such a
What?
scaredy cat
You don't
when
like-
it comes to Goliath,
You don't like?
the roller coaster. Let's
Oh,
talk about
I
it.
thought you were gonna make a G-force.
You're a
gerbil
roller
joke.
coaster scaredy cat.
I am not a roller coaster scaredy cat. I'm afraid of heights.
Can't
And
handle the G-force.
I went on every single ride at Six Flags Magic Mountain. I was scared the whole time, but I fucking did it, and no one can ever talk shit on me again because I did it. I rode Goliath, I rode Superman, I rode X2. Get off my back. You guys are.
It's fine, Pete. I've never been on any of those, and I'm still.
No,
a
you
man.
gotta fire off some shots to end the pod.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think that's gonna wrap it up.
Absolutely.
Probably. Oh, I wanted to say my birthday was nice. You got some good clothes.
I'm sorry I couldn't come.
It's okay, Brand.
Okay.
No, it's not okay.
It's okay.
I'll never
You just,
forgive you.
You just showed up at my work. I didn't even get a chance to not show up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I did just show up at his job. I was like, "You're gonna hang out with me because it's my birthday, and I'm drunk,
I love that we
my
go
and
to
I'm
Yeah.
sad."
Oh, no. I do love that we go to 2 places, 3 places though. It's nice that we have
Dude, we
spots.
gotta keep it. I ain't going into Oceanside.
I gotta fucking drive over here.
Well, no, I'm saying
I ain't going.
because
Over
they have
there.
a bunch of people eating inside and all that.
What? Man,
They're-
people
yeah,
eating
Oceanside-
inside in the village too.
No,
Get
they're
the fuck
not.
out of here.
Yeah, they are in the
yes,
Compass.
They are.
Well, yeah, the Compass is the one who's been breaking the rules this whole time.
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
I'm
the
saying,
Compass
I go to,
and the Coyote.
well,
this is
yeah,
a
I don't,
segment
I don't
right
give,
here.
I don't give a single care for those 40 up places.
You're right.
I go to the spots that only have outside because they're smart.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that does wrap it up. Before we go, I just want to say thank you to the team. I'm not going to say all your names this
Aw.
time because I get tired doing that. And thank you to the viewer. You guys, you're the reason we do what we do.
And the feedback.
And the
we
feedback.
we get great feedback, even from people I didn't know watch.
Yeah.
I got a DM and it was like, "Hey, good take," and I was like, "Hey, thanks,
Yeah.
thanks."
I don't
bro."
get any feedback like that.
I
but-
got one.
Hey, be sending Pete some feedback. The man
Yeah.
needs some work on
Uh,
his.
Make sure to check out Brown Bad Politics, our other show on this channel, for a better understanding of the political world. Remember to like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next week on the PB&J podcast.
Yep.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye bye.